Well, in a moment we'll get onto your story and exactly what happened, but tell me a bit about your campaign and what you're campaigning for.
And we're campaigning for change in, like, Hollywood and the film industry to not represent villains with sort of like a, visible difference, like with scars and things like that. Because even though growing up, I grew up with a lot of stigma attached to villains in a film, and I didn't realise at the time the impact it was having on me and my confidence.
Mentally
as well. So it was quite challenging, and I didn't realise just how influential the film industry is on people and their perceptions of people with a visible difference.
Are there good scars and bad scars?
Not really.
I think it's... Because you say you like Harry Potter.
Yeah, but, like, I think there are good and bad scars, of course, but I think it's just how they're represented. People with a visible difference aren't represented very well across most spectrums.
Yeah, sure. But, I mean, I think, obviously, a lot of people will be trying to figure out, OK, right, OK, well, I get this, because certainly you don't think about something like that. But it's the explanation of what it is that you actually think is acceptable and is unacceptable. And so you have someone like Harry Potter who has a disfigurement, and Voldemort, who also has a disfigurement. One is a goodie, one is a baddie. So it's OK for Harry to have the scar in the movie, but not Voldemort.
I think it's just more a case of, like, when I was growing up, I was referred to as a villain character, and as opposed to a good character. I mean, look, scars can be represented by both characters, of course, but why does it always have to be a villain that has a disfigurement and not, like, a main hero?
Predominantly, it's being portrayed in that way.
I mean, if you had to list, like, positive role models with the scar, the list isn't that big, and it's quite hard to think about it.
It's very true.
But with a villain, it's like, it's so easy, right? 4 or 5 characters will just roll off your tongue.
But is it... And you say that it affected you when you were younger, so it obviously did have an impact. But a lot of people would say, but, it's the movies, they're characters, they're not real people. Some of them are superheroes. And you've got Deadpool, that's another that's positive, if there is such a thing, if that's a positive message. So it's just a character.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, I grew up being called Freddy Krueger, and I didn't know who Freddy Krueger was when I was growing up. So I just thought, OK, it's a name, might be quite cool. And I carried that for quite a while. And then when I spoke to my uncle when I came home, because I think I felt a little bit disturbed, why am I getting it called repeatedly?
Yes.
And he got really angry, and I thought he got angry at me. But he actually got angry at the fact that I'm accepting this name. And he explained that's the character Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, even sort of continue that theme, Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, explained his first day in the makeup chair as the character with the makeup artist, David Miller. David whipped open his medical textbook the first day I sat down. He said, "This is what we're going to do to you." And it was real burn victims. And so Freddy Krueger had actually been... that character, the makeup of that character, had been taken from that book.
Yeah.
And so is this something that, as far as changing faces are concerned, that are you fully behind this?
We're absolutely behind it. And actually, Tulsi's story that she shared of disfigured characters with bad characters being used to mock or bully people is very common amongst our community. So another one of our champions, a lad called Marcus, who's 14, he talked about being called Joker and Two-Face. So this use of disfigured characters to abuse and mock people is really common, and what we're seeing is a direct link between the two. So it's provoking bullying, but also it's this impact on your own mental health and self-esteem, because people internalise that. And Marcus will say that he's thought, so what's wrong with me to look like this character?
So what would you want to happen? What's your... Obviously, you're campaigning, and this is what you're campaigning for, which is brilliant, but what would you want Hollywood to do from now?
I think just have a fair representation of people who look different, because there isn't a character that looks like me, but in a positive light. And I'm not saying, like, a main character could just be somebody in the background, because, we're all part of this one big society, and we should all be represented quite fairly. And
just recognising yourself, seeing yourself in a film.
Yeah.
As an actress who has a facial is sort of facially different, or a character that's made up in a positive way?
I think just like an actress who just looks like me. Because
Well, you want representation.
I want representation. If I go on the tube or anywhere I am.
Yeah.
you know.
Do you find, because it's one of the things where you have to have a really brilliant... You don't want to pick an actress because she has a facial scarring, because that sounds token to me. You want her to be absolutely untroubled in her brilliance throughout her acting career, and you've got this role because you are a brilliant actress.
Yes.
And that's absolutely right. So what we really want is just a much broader representation of scarring and looking different. So we want characters in a whole range of roles. So they could be the heroes, they can fall in love, they can make friendships, they can triumph and they can fail. But we also want many more actors with visible differences in a whole variety of roles.
To have the confidence to pursue that as a career, knowing that they would get parts.
Yes.
Exactly. And actually, the campaign is being supported by the British Film Institute. So they have committed to stop funding films that have this negative portrayal of scarring. And their diversity guidelines really support people to cast more people with visible differences. So we're really hoping that more people will get behind the campaign and we'll see more actors with visible differences coming through and, as I say, featuring in a whole different range of roles.
Do you think Hollywood will listen?
I think so. There's
I hope so.
I think there's a lot of movement going on, and I think, you know, voices are sort of getting louder and, like, everyone's hearing them. I think it will.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing your bit. You really, really are.
Yeah, that's really it's fascinating, and thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.